All right, boys and girls, we're 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and I just cooked up a brand new 7-round mock draft. And let me be clear, this isn't me playing fantasy GM. I'm not out here saying, here's what I'd do if I ran the team. No. This is what I think is actually going to happen on draft night. Big difference. There's a place for both styles, but I'm trying to give y'all a realistic look at what might go down when the lights come on and the picks start flying. Section 2. Falcons first-round pick, Mike Green. So with the Falcons picking at number 15, I've got them taking Mike Green. Now listen, there's been a ton of smoke around this one. Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot didn't just happen to stop by Huntington, West Virginia. They were there for Green's pro day. That means something. And yeah, picking at 15, it's tough. You don't know who's going to fall. But if Mike Green's on the board, this pick makes all the sense in the world. The Falcons need pass rush help in the worst way, and this dude had 17 sacks last year, blew the roof off at his pro day. We're talking elite numbers. This ain't rocket science, folks. If he's there, they've got to take him. Now, if Green goes earlier, like to the Bears at number 10, that's out of their control. But if he falls to 15, I'm telling you, he should be a Falcon. That's when you can say, Pat, you called it, baby. If not, hey, that's the draft. It's chaos every year. Section 3. Falcons in round 2. Trey Amos. Now let's roll into round 2. After grabbing Green, I've got the Falcons going cornerback. And the guy I like here is Trey Amos from Ole Miss. Now Amos is interesting. Not the biggest name out there, but he's been getting buzz as a day 2 guy, and there's a lot to like. He's about 6'1", 195. So good size, decent length. But here's the thing, he's transferred 3 times. That's not necessarily a red flag, but it does make teams ask questions. Like, what's the story? Why bounce around that much? Started at Louisiana, Ragin' Cajuns, then moved to Alabama, and eventually ended up at Ole Miss. And when he landed there, he balled out. Led the team in pass breakups with 16 and tied for the lead in interceptions with 3. That's what scouts wanted to see from him at Alabama, and he finally showed it in Oxford. So yeah, there's some homework to do on the character side, but the talent is real, and if you need corner depth, Amos is a solid swing in round 2. Now I know some of you might be a little nervous about Mike Green because he played in the Sun Belt, and now he's going to be lining up against NFL tackles every Sunday. Totally fair question. But let's not act like that means he can't ball. Look at Trey Amos. He made the jump from a smaller school to Alabama and then Ole Miss and didn't blink. He adjusted to SEC speed just fine. It's not like there's no history here. Khalil Mack came out of Buffalo. Jason Pierre-Paul was a small school dude. And yeah, while I was thinking about edge rushers, someone like C.J. Gardner-Johnson also made his name without being from some powerhouse. Point is, plenty of guys come from smaller programs and light it up in the league. Don't fall into the trap of thinking level of competition is the be-all, end-all. It's about traits, work ethic, and upside. Section 5. Why drafting another corner makes sense. Back to cornerback for a second because I know some people aren't loving the idea of going corner in the second round. But here's how I look at it. Corner is a premium position. You can never have too many good ones. One injury, and suddenly you're starting a guy who should be on special teams. You want depth. You want options. Now, yeah, the Falcons brought back Mike Hughes and D. Alford, so maybe you feel like that box is already checked. But Hughes' deal is basically a 1-year flyer. If he doesn't play well, you can walk away in 2025. If he does play well but wants more money, you've got that day 2 corner you drafted already on the roster, developing and ready to step up. That's how you build smart and stay ahead of the curve. Section 6. Round 4. Falcons. Get a ball hawk in Billy Bowman. All right, now let's fast forward to round 4 because round 3 belongs to the Patriots thanks to the Matthew Judon trade. So with their next pick, I had the Falcons taking Billy Bowman, the safety, out of Oklahoma. Look, I wasn't thrilled that I didn't double dip at edge rusher by this point, but I'll tell you what, Safety is sneakily a big need for this team, too. And Bowman, he's a guy you got to pay attention to. He's only 5'10", 192 pounds. And yeah, that might scare some folks. His tackling form is hit or miss, and that's fair criticism. But this dude has elite instincts and crazy ball skills. He had 11 career picks at Oklahoma, and 4 of them were returned for touchdowns. That's not just production. That's game-changing stuff. He might not be the biggest dude on the field, but he's a playmaker, and that's exactly what Atlanta's defense needs more of. All right, back to Billy Bowman for a second, because this guy's tape just keeps getting more interesting. I think all 4 of his touchdowns were pick sixes, though maybe one was a scoop and score. Either way, the guy is just a playmaker. He's got that knack for being in the right place at the right time. And look, you're not drafting him to come in and start right away. The Falcons already have 2 starters at safety. This is about development and planning ahead. Come 2026, guys like Jordan Fuller, who's on a 1-year deal, could be out the door. Same thing with Mike Hughes, whose contract is light on guarantees. You draft someone like Bowman now, let him learn the system, and boom, you've got a cheap, explosive upgrade waiting in the wings. I always ask, if he's not starting this year, can he start next year? And with Bowman, the answer feels like a strong yes. Section 8, Round 7, Taking Swings. All right, let's round it out, because let's be honest, nobody really cares about Round 7, but that's where you can have a little fun. So I went with Curtis Rourke, quarterback out of Indiana. Now hear me out. I just think the Falcons are going to move on from Kirk Cousins at some point, and they'll need a reliable backup in place. Rourke has a ton of college snaps under his belt, and what he did with the Hoosiers last year? Not bad. Not bad at all. He's got some chemistry with Michael Penix Jr., and hey, in the 7th round, why not take a guy like that? It's not a huge risk, and you get someone with legit experience. Section 9. The Thor pick. Let's get weird. And then I made a pick that was a little unorthodox, but you're going to love it. Thor Griffith, defensive tackle out of Louisville. Now look, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I drafted this guy because his name is Thor. That was the entire reason I looked him up. Then I did the homework after, and it turns out he's actually solid. Originally from New Hampshire, not exactly an NFL pipeline, but he played 4 years at Harvard, was an all-Ivy League guy, and had a ton of pass rush upside for a DT. Transferred to Louisville as a grad student, turned down interest from Ohio State and Michigan, and ended up with 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and 19 total tackles. Not bad for a big dude with a hammer of a name. Round 7, that's a win. Section 10, Mock Draft Final Grade. Be honest. So how would I grade this thing? Looking at it again, I'm giving myself a solid B. You've got one day 1 starter in Mike Green. The rest are developmental guys with upside. When you only have 3 picks in the first 4 rounds, it's tough to walk away with a loaded class. So I'm not gonna pretend this is an A+ haul. Let me know what you think, though. A, B, C, D, or F. Drop your grade in the comments. I'm all ears.